but we're going to talk about selling over the curb today. And really, the most important thing is identifying what the customer is really calling about. And we forget when the phone rings what the customer is calling about. And that is your number one thing that you should be paying attention to. Number one, they want education. They want to make an educated decision. Number two, they want communication and they want it from you, but they also want to communicate to you. You may be the only person that listens to them today. There are people that just go through life feeling unheard and unseen, and so they want to be heard. And we're seeing an outpouring of this in this last 10 years or so. We've seen a shift of people just like screaming out, and it's because they just don't feel heard. And so yes, they want to hear you and they want to be educated, but they also want to reciprocate and tell you what's going on. And so know that that is a basic human need that they're calling for. So you do have the car that you're trying to fix, but you also have the person you're trying to fix. And so it's both of them. And I love that Kim's on here because his slogan, yes, we fix your car, but we fix you. Or we take care of your car and we take care of you. Is that right, Kim? Okay. So
Yeah.
so Kim does that. He takes care of the person and the car. They also want assurance that they're making the right choice. And it's okay that that comes from you. It's not salesy, but you're assuring them that they're making a good choice. The I've heard that the difference between a good restaurant and a great restaurant is when you tell the waiter and they say, yes, that's a good choice. And it's kind of funny, but the next time you go to a nicer restaurant and they say that is a fine choice, then you're going to know what I'm talking about. And so help them, assure them that they're making the right choice. They also want a fast repair because it's inconvenient. They wouldn't be calling if they weren't inconvenienced by their vehicle being broken or needing maintenance. And then value, they want to be assured that they're getting value. And now you notice the price is not on this list. Every time that we poll people and say, "Well, what made you buy?" It wasn't price. It's value sometimes comes up, but they're really looking for value that's more important to them in the end. Us as salespeople, we think that it's price because so many people call us and ask, well, what's your price? The only reason they're asking about your price is because they don't know the difference between you and another shop. It's just one of their differentiators. So they're looking for value. If they call up and they're talking to you about an oil change, price is part of the equation of value, but it's not the only one because there's service that comes into there's time of service, and so there are a number of other things in the equation other than just price. And so when someone calls up, I don't typically give pricing over the phone. When someone calls, if it's for a service other than an oil change, or if you're running a special, you can obviously throw the special price out. But in general, I do not price over the phone. So once again, I keep everything very simple. And so all these concepts that I'm going to talk about, you're going to, well, duh, Sam. Well, that's some of those well, duh, Sams are the things that make me successful. And you just continue to grind at it until you get it. And so this is why I don't typically give pricing over the phone. You haven't built their trust yet. And so we had an actual recent call, and I'm not going to play this because I want to be cognizant of time. But this person calls in and says, "Hey, my check engine light is on," and the advisor literally talks them out of bringing their vehicle in. He says, "Well, it's a $180 diag, and uh, and then basically says, we can't get you in today, and we could get at it tomorrow, and talks this person out of it, and the person ends up hanging up, not going to bring their vehicle in. So we can go through all the things that they did wrong there, but it's better, in my opinion, to focus on everything that we should do right. And so I've spent less time on this slide now because I want you to focus on what you can do right. Okay, oil change price. When somebody calls up and says, "Hey, I have a 2005 BMW X3. What's the price on it? Then you can absolutely give them a price. Say, absolutely, we offer a synthetic oil change service for this, or, there's a full synthetic for this price. It's a Euro price, so it's going to be a little more expensive. And this is what differentiates you from the last person they called. You say both include up to 6 quarts of oil, replacement of your oil filter, and a no wrench inspection. If you're going to top off all the fluids, you can tell them. 90% of the other shops that I called, because we do a lot of SWOT analyses, and I call the other shops other than our clients. 90% of them will give us a price over the phone. You'll say, okay, I have a 2015 Hyundai Elantra. I need an oil change price. And they'll go $39.95. That's all that they say. And so I don't know the difference between anything. And I don't know if it's full synthetic. I don't know if it's semi-synthetic. I don't know what it includes. And so if you throw the rest of this in there, and it includes up to 6 quarts of oil, replacement of your oil filter, no wrench inspection, we top off all your fluids. And this month we're running a special to where we'll rotate your tires for free when you bring it in. That is a huge differentiator, and that's the one that I'm choosing as a customer because I feel like these other needs have been met. I feel informed. I feel like I'm making a good decision. I feel like I'm taking advantage of a special just because you took the time to tell them what's included. I know it seems super basic, but this is helping them to bring their vehicle in. And then you follow it up. It's a 1-2 punch. You follow it up and say, we could get you in it too. Does that work for you? So you are now setting time. And then once you have your vehicle or their vehicle in the shop, possession is 9/10 of the law. You'll hear me say that. But you have their vehicle in your shop and then you can continue to work from there. This is how simple it is to bring them in over the curb. So we have accomplished everything that we talked about on the other slide. I know it seemed complex, but you're accomplishing it all right here. Okay. And this is last month, I took our top 4 calls that we'd gotten. So all these should apply to your shop right now. Transmission not shifting. This was actually one of the top ones that we've gotten. And so I'm going to address this one. It's probably, I don't know if it's maybe top 10 for some of you folks, but I wanted to go over transmission not shifting. This is a big ticket item. It can be. And so it's very important that you handle this one correctly. You start out by the human touch. You say, I'm sorry to hear that, because it sucks that when your transmission doesn't shift. I've been through this. And so I'm more compassionate maybe than someone that has not, because it's going to cost you $5,000 when your transmission's not shifting. It's probably going to be $5,000 or more. But so I would start out by saying, hey, I'm sorry to hear that, but don't worry, it could be something as simple as a worn shifter cable, which that is absolutely accurate. It can be. It probably still is going to be $5,000 6 months down the road, but at least it could be a worn shifter cable. So you give them hope. And then we can take a look at it at 2. Does that work for you? Every other place that they call is probably going to say that's going to cost you $5,500. You're going to quote it right over the phone and tell them that it's shot. If it's an AMCO or somebody like that, they are not going to price it over the phone, but they're going to say, we really can't give you a price until we tear it down and see what's wrong with it. And so those are typically your 2 competitors' answers. It's very important to know what your competitors are going to say. They're not going to say, I'm sorry to hear that. Not to worry, it could be something as simple as a worn shifter cable. It certainly can be. You're giving them hope, and then you're giving them the option to bring it in at 2. If the other guy said, we can't give you a price until we have it torn down, then they know that it's going to cost them some money.
Let me help you.
So that is why we structure like this. Shayla, does that sound good to you? Okay. The nod works for me. Check engine. This is a very common one. You're smiling that you get these calls all the time. Once again, I'm sorry to hear that because you really are. Not to worry, it could be something as simple as a loose gas cap. We can take a look at it at 2. Does that work for you? Did I price a diag in here anywhere? Nope. So I see that all the time. That's why I bring that up. But do you see how simple this is? So I'm sorry to hear that. Not to worry, it could be as something as simple as a loose gas cap. We could look at it at 2. Does that work for you? Because other than that, you're trying to diagnose over the phone. What you could ask, what noise is it making? Is it doing anything else? That is not your goal. Your goal is to get it in the hands of a technician that can diagnose it. So it's super frustrating to try to diagnose over the phone. And if you do a bad job, then they give you a 1-star review and say, over the phone, they said that it was this. So we don't want that. Just keep it simple. I'm sorry to hear that. Not to worry. It could be something as simple as a loose gas cap. We could take a look at it at 2. And this just the simple as it applies to anything. If they say it's making a noise when I get up over 35 miles an hour, just say, it's not to worry. That could be something very simple, and it could be a tire out of balance. It could be that they hit a rock. It could be a number of different things. But it's always, I'm sorry to hear it. Not to worry. It can be something simple. We can look at it at 2 or wherever you can find time in your calendar. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Once again, we keep it very simple. And this was last month, AC not blowing cold. You're going to have some different things up there in Canada. Now that it's just Kim and Shayla is on right now, but you're going to have some different things that come up. AC not blowing cold. You want to show some compassion here because it sucks driving around without that. Oh no, we can't have you driving around in a hot car. If their heater's not working because the heater cord shot or something, they call up no heat. Oh no, we can't have you driving around with a foggy windshield. That's a safety issue. It's not just comfort. But you show some compassion. You're sorry that they're going through it. Not to worry. That's usually a quick fix. For this, it can be something as simple as topping off your refrigerant or a refrigerant leak. Come on in. We could look at it at 2. Does it work for you? It's really the same pattern. So you're showing compassion. Oh no, we're sorry. But if you see that it's a safety issue, if someone calls in and says something and you know that it's a safety issue, you really should say, hey, I'm really sorry you're going through that. I know that that is something that needs attention sooner than later because it's a safety issue, but not worry. It could be a quick fix. Can we take a look at it at 2? You just change it up just a little bit. But do you see how simple that is, Shayla? Okay.
This morning, Sheila and me, we were working on anytime script from ShopFix,
Hmm.
and anytime and price shoppers script. I mean, it's feel like for me, I feel like this script you just gave me, it's kind of similar, almost the
Good.
same as I feel. How do you feel, Sheila?
Yeah, it's similar, and it sounds like some of the things that I'm going over, like I was mentioning to Mr. Kim that um I'm a very natural connector with people.
I can see
So
that.
I robotic does not work for me. So
Yeah.
I do need to change it up to sound natural and not to over stimulate my brain, right?
Hmm.
I feel like the connectivity where you started this whole um um conversation with the connectiveness and hearing the customer, that's my motto in life. Like I live to hear and be compassionate, and to some of the questions I may have will be connective questions. And I know we do have a time frame to me get them off the phone, but I think I have a habit of connecting with people and relaxing them. An analogy I've always used, I've told Mr. Kim, is the cat with the hair up on its back.
Yeah.
They are fearful or apprehensive, and our job as salespeople is to pet them and make them comfortable and the hair relax. And that has been like the analogy that's worked, especially for those type of people that are maybe not as connective or great in sales. So it takes away from the actual selling. And that's one thing that's really important for me, is to make them forget that I'm selling them something and make them know that I'm caring about them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So inevitably, when I'm on the phone, I do take some time to connect and make them trust, especially if they're calling for something where they're adamant about pricing. I've been practicing it's actually been pretty successful this week. It's for they are forgetting that they called about the price by the time I'm doing a better connection. So